Space history, the flight is normal. Now I want to show you another space, another moon. What's not mixed in there? Gypsum, PVA glue, polyethylene, and epoxy resin. Let's go. Now the process to have a beautiful, tasty caramel edge, we need to remove the sharp edges. We take sandpaper or an orbital machine, also a 20, and sand it well. We remove the sharp edge of our surface. Now let's cover the board with masking tape because there will be a lot of faces, paint, resin, and to avoid unnecessary cleaning, it's better to cover with masking tape and then clean. So take some paint. You can create absolutely any background. I want to create something like a dark sea wave, but I'm going to have a darkening from the left corner and a lightening from the right. At the end of the work, you'll see why I did it. You can create a dense color that you like, black, purple, the color of space, or even draw space itself. I'll show you this option. I'll apply a blotch of my color with a wide construction brush. I'll wet it slightly, very slightly, because if you wet it too much, it might create bald spots. I'll apply it to my surface where I have a dent or a curved part. I'll apply it thicker there, and I'll definitely apply it to the end. Next, I'm going to apply my color with a wide construction brush. I'm going to wet it just a little, very little, because if you wet it too much, it will make bald spots. I'll apply it on my surface, specifically where there's a dent or some sort of curve. I'll apply it more thickly there, and I'll also make sure to apply it to the end. Now look, I'm not taking this color all the way to the edge. Here I'll add some white acrylic, and I need to create an ombre. In other words, I want it to transition from white to color as seamlessly as possible, not as striking and bright as now, with the help of a wide brush and so on. This color is already saturated. I apply it several times with horizontal strokes to lighten it. It's essential for me to have a smooth transition without visible boundaries. It can be uneven, rounded off perhaps. Right now I'm making this part lighter. I keep working until I achieve a uniform color. From this edge I apply black. I'll even round off this corner, but the brush needs to be thoroughly cleaned first. Now, using the same principle as we applied the lightening, I'll create a darker area. We'll leave it to dry. Next, we have the moon. The acrylic has dried. Now, for the next stage, we need to place the moon correctly zone-wise. I used this ball as a base for the moon, which will be a circle. If we're talking about the center of the moon will be here with equal distances on the sides. However, I'll shift the moon slightly. Here's the letter. Not at all, because the distance to the drawing over here will be less than over there. So now we're going to create an outline together. I'm mixing up some white. I have a touch of ocean color, but I'll add a bit of yellow and then I'll draw the outline. It's going to be a bit warped because my circle isn't even, but later I'll adjust it. Like right around here, just so. Now look, I'm blending a base for the moon. The base will be in acrylic. You can also add some PVA glue and cement, a touch of water and cement. I initially make an acrylic base and add it there. The base for the moon will be made of acrylic. You can also add PVA glue and cement just a bit. Water and cement. I first make the acrylic, add the cement there in equal proportions. Let's get it done, guys. I've got this cool spatula currently. I'm kneading it. Now I'm applying all this beauty from the beginning of my moon. So now I am putting on quite a thick layer, guys, along the edge, because it will be light along the contour since we did the lightening beforehand, right? It will be light along the contour. So I will draw myself such a straight line, sort of a straight line as a straight line. Yes, here I'll fill it completely with my kneading, like this, guys. And now cut it into the shape according to the volume of your moon, but so that it is enough for the entire volume, and lay it on top. Knead it in. Well, okay, and now there should be a photo. I don't know. There's that. The same moon or the same crater that you want to replicate, whatever pattern you want to replicate. I have this photo. Now I want to find it to print it. And where we need it, where we need craters, we'll put them. I'll start with the smaller ones here. The whole moon is covered in craters, but they're different sizes. Some are larger, some are smaller, somewhere less. So decide for yourself which zone will have the most craters, which without, and you can put them there. We also need some really large craters. So now we've put the small ones and need more. I have such a bubble. I'll put a large crater here somewhere. Make sure they're not too artificial. You can just go over them with your hand. Soften them. And now the lethal number. Take all the corners of your polyethylene. If you take it out, you need to lift this whole structure in one quick movement. 1, 2, 3, there. Leave it to harden. So guys, we waited until our base dried. Now I need such colors. While our hand is not tired, while our hand tolerates fine detailing, mix the thick, slightly water and slightly, literally peach, to get a thick, saturated white, and carefully along the edge of our moon up to. Let's draw a clear line. We need to make a pillar. The main thing is that your gloves are clean and draw the contour. Let's make such a batch. You can add a little flesh and more brown, and with brown it tastes good. Now with this mixture we draw our craters. We need to mark them. If the paint doesn't come off well, soak it with water here. We need to create an ombre effect as we approach our very dark sea wave. Apply it along the edge and construct our craters. I want them nearer to the moon, closer to the brink of space, fading into nothingness in a similar color. You can blend black with a sea wave. As you see, I create these spots, merely circles that I hadn't made before. Existing ones can already be crafted with light kneading. I added more brown now. I am making a light gray blend with nude and white, peach and white. Switch up the colors, not solidly drawing with all of them the same way. I take turns to fill up the spaces. I wash my brush thoroughly, then nude and white, peach and white again. Why do I call it nude, peach and white? Here, I will duplicate. As you see, I am not entirely covering this. Thus, I lightly brush over the surface because our texture lets us create the drawing that we have. You can do it slightly and try not to sketch. Primarily look around, step back from your work to see what you are doing. Now I notice that I am drawing too geometrically with identical shapes, so I ought to deviate from this. I want to create a deeper crater, merging them, these dark ones here with Now guys, we need to lighten and dilute our mix so that our edges aren't too flashy and obvious. I'm focusing on the bottom left part. This is where I wanted to, as in this one, on the screen of my tablet. I want to sketch out clearer craters. So now I'm just making dots, the craters that are already there. I draw them out with pure black acrylic. I create slightly uneven circles and alter their form. That is, if they are more round here, then further down they should distort away from our line of sight. That is, more of an oval. Look, where, well, not that you know. I wanted to say where it's clearly asking. And then I argued with myself, Natasha, if I'm drawing for the first time, I don't ask for anything anywhere. So let's start with the fact that first we'll make obvious craters. Here are the ones we have here. And even though these contours are adjacent to each other on one side, yeah, you get the idea. It's cool. You see how cool it is? Now tell me what else, Natasha. And now I take this outline, a white one. It's not white, it's black. Where's the white? Black, 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 black. And those craters that we painted, need to be emphasized a little with a white outline, just not thickly, guys. Not like, Natasha said to emphasize everything. So take it and just circle it with a border. No, outline it with a light outline, just about with a trembling hand. Without a clear one, well, that is, there should be no circle, either on one side or on the other side. This one, yes. Here you can act at will. Basically, you see, the moon is ready, but I want to make it more difficult as usual. So first I'll do pour ombre resin from dark to light, and then more resin on top, but this will be the second stage. I mix medium viscosity resin, Art Pro, from the company Resin Pro or Art Resin. Use the Terium promo code for a 10% discount if anyone wants when ordering Use It. So I mixed the resin. Here are 360 grams in equal proportions, divided into 2 glasses. We paint the light, mint breeze, yes, and a little. Blue, like so, will remove the ring. That's because it could drop on you. Now here's the most important thing. You can take thick resin or medium resin. If medium, then you need literally to insist so that it gained viscosity. I will add another drop of oceanic because it is like a finish principle. If you do not let the resin persist, then it will just spread out. It will make us a caramel edge, but perhaps it will also open our space here. So we patiently wait for the resin to be a warm tea. Right now it's not a warm tea, I'd say. So we wait, mix well, check the level, ensure there are no drafts. So guys, it's all dried up, but that's not the end. Ideally, this work can be considered completed. But I'll take 2 more, actually 3 steps. The first one, I'm going to make a few highlights of the gold leaf. I have a glow coming from here. It goes into the twilight there, and the glow comes from here. Therefore, we take the simplest, most common glue for gold leaf. I bought it at Leonardo here. We do not apply it thickly. With such ragged movements, I apply one part of the moon that is not all over the moon, nor along the entire perimeter, but somewhere you can choose some part, right, left, as you wish. So I chose the upper right part. On it, I will apply gold leaf. You can apply it directly thickly because we're using, and you can use leaf gold or tear-off gold, whatever petal you have. Don't touch it, just apply it straight away, let it dry. Time has passed. Now in a cup or on a palette or in a cup, I'm mixing a little bit of white paint and phosphor. You can mix in equal proportions, make sure it's not too thick. First, remove the excess gold. This is the tastiest and most beautiful. As for me, I'm going to use this phosphor and acrylic mix to outline the moon more clearly. And draw clearer sketches right where the gold is to smooth out these jagged parts. So now I'm going to detail it carefully. Clearly draw the contour and it will glow. And now I'll go over the top with the same paint. Along some of the obvious craters that are here where I painted in white, I'll go a little over the gold leaf to muffle it. It shouldn't be quite as active here. Well, see for yourself based on your own composition. As much as you want. Okay guys, now for the next stage. Whoever guessed it correctly, guessed it correctly. Now we'll use UV resin, foam and water. We need a cleaning agent. Anyone that foams well, any at all. By the way, I'm using fairy. Not too much water and not too much of anything else either. We start foaming. I have a straw for this. You can stir it first. It's generally faster to do it with your hand, but somehow it's not very aesthetically pleasing to foam with your hand. So we foamed it. Now you need to leave it. The foam will settle now. I'm applying the UV resin. So I'm applying it around the perimeter of my moon. At first, I'll just squeeze it out. I'll distribute it with my finger now in such an uneven layer. So now distribute it. You should have the lamp ready now. And once again, you'll need to foam the bubbles because they settle. And in general, it's better to use spatulas because it's very cool to apply the bubbles with a spatula. Well, see for yourself how convenient it is for you. And you need to work really quickly, guys, because the foam bursts very quickly. So guys, everything is done, everything is dry, and now we remove our foam with a damp cloth. I have a dry one at hand. Soak, and what else in principle? Tell me, Natasha, enough already, enough of everything. You can still make a rub on the moon. Now I will show you firstly what craters turned out, but they look here under the bend of the sun. But you can still make craters now. Look what they are. Here in some, you can make a mother of pearl rub. I'll show you now. So we take any mother of pearl rub, first bright places, and also not in all craters, in one part, for example, especially where we had here. drawings I want to add here, I have this type of turquoise, where turquoise is. And also, guys, look what a crazy thought I had here. And in general, I originally thought, to be honest, to make a watch, but I wanted to make a watch in with the dials already glued, but I haven't poured them yet. So I think maybe here's something like that, black too, if it were along the contour, but there is no black, somehow black, or as you think black. Well, the moon will close. Yes, these ones. I really like this something. And the fact that the moon is visible in the center of it. Arrows, silver. Well, in principle, you can also use silver baby buttons here or black, right? It seems to me black. What do you think? This is generally the torment of choice. It seems to me black.